Hi there, this is Jacob Nash, and this is a review of Module 38. We're still on our motivation unit, and this time we're talking about hunger. So the next two modules specifically are not, definitely the next one, are not ones that I was able to find that many pictures that could go along with it. So sorry if these aren't as interesting or whatever you would say, because I mean, especially the next one, I don't think there's really that many pictures I can just find for that. Okay, so glucose. So hopefully we know what this is, but it's just basically a form of sugar that circulates in the blood. I mean, we know all those oses, lactose, fructose, stupid stose, all those different ones. But glucose is the one that we need to know for this. Set point. So as you can see, there's no picture for this because I don't know, I couldn't really find one for that. But basically what a set point is a certain point that the body tries to keep. And that's usually a weight point. So this is why it could be sometimes hard for someone to gain weight or lose weight, because whenever, let's say you're someone that has usually a lower body weight, then when you try to gain weight, you might just lose that weight because your body's like, hey, that's not what it's usually like. So it tries to make it go back to set point. Same thing if you're someone with a usual high weight. If you try to lose weight, then you might end up gaining it back partially because your body tries to go back to that set point. Leptin receptors. So you just got to know, like, there's certain things that really you only need to know what happens if they're messed up, not necessarily they do. But it is useful to know that they control hunger, but you need to know that if they get if they're non-functional, then it could make something, well, I say something because it could be a person or an animal, have an eating disorder. As you can see in the picture, that the rat on the left has leptin receptors that are damaged. So the similar thing will happen with damage to the ventromedial hypothalamus. All right. So basal metabolic rate. So what is that? That's just our resting rate of energy expenditure. So it can vary from person to person, sometimes depending on someone's weight, but that's just what it could be like. All right, so you got to know, so when someone has low blood sugar, that's called hypoglycemia. And in this case, they may need more carbohydrates. So that's just something random, there's always these little random things, but just because that's been questions on exams before. Okay, so BMI. So maybe you've heard of body mass index before. This is something that's supposed to be able to tell you if you're underweight, normal weight, overweight, or obese. It's not really that accurate because it doesn't take into account that people have varying amounts of muscle or fat. So that's something you got to know. Like, it's not that it can't be that not completely accurate because, for example, it would say that John Cena is obese. That's because of his high weight, but his high weight is because of muscle. So just know that it might not necessarily be that accurate to what, like saying, like some people might think, oh, I just have to be normal weight. Well, you don't know, if you happen to have like a lot of muscle or something, then it might not, your weight might not be bad. You might think you're overweight, but that doesn't mean it's bad or something like that, if that makes sense. But those percentages are what percent people are of something in the United States. So you can see height on the left, or height on the right, sorry, and then weight on the top. So if you know your height and weight, then you can go down to the middle see where you would be. So if you are over here in the blue, then you're underweight, and it would say that that means you need to gain weight. And only 5% of people in the United States are that. The only amount of people that are normal weight, according to this, is 25%. And then overweight, 30%. And then obese is actually the most, 40%. So technically, 70% of Americans at least are higher, have a higher weight than they should. And really, 75% of Americans are not a good weight, according to this. So whatever you might want to think about that, but I mean, it has been an increasing trend. If you see graphs of about people that are overweight according to things like the BMI, but you can say what or think what you want to think about that, but you just need to know what that thing is. Okay. So 3 questions. When a person experiences low blood sugar, what should they do? Oh, remember, that means they could take a few grams of carbohydrates. That could help. The point at which is a person's weight thermostat is set at, that's called their set point. Remember, it tries to make it always that way. What happens when the ventromedial hypothalamus is damaged? The person's hunger will never end, just like when the leptin receptors are. So there you go. That's it. Thanks for watching.